Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Crash, and Yozakura Family is probably one of the most underrated battle manga in the current roster of Weekly Shonen Jump. Now, don't get me wrong, the manga definitely has its core fanbase who make sure the manga still prospers. But out of all of them, it's clearly the one with a smaller fanbase, with the exception of maybe Undead Unluck, which is also an underrated gem in its own right. And it took a while to build this fanbase. The manga didn't really start as an instant success. Rather, it went through an evolution over the course of its very first year, starting as more of a slice of life manga about spies to eventually becoming a pretty solid battle shonen with amazing art, and all the while never stopping to be true to its original vision. And while the manga certainly has changed since its debut in the summer of 2019, I can definitely say that there's one thing the manga got right from the get-go. Its two main characters, Taiyo and Mutsumi, and their relationship. Honestly, I'd go as far as to say that those two are the best couple in Shonen Jump. No, not the current Shonen Jump, but the best in all of the manga I've read from the magazine. To be fair, this isn't necessarily hard. Battle shonens aren't really known for their ability to write romantic stories. While some do it better than others, at the end of the day it's always a side plot, which is why I think Yozakura Family had an unfair advantage from the get-go, since this is a battle shonen in which the romance plot is arguably the most important part of it. Though it is true, Shonen Jump isn't really just battle manga, and indeed one of the genres it publishes in their pages is rom-coms, a genre completely dedicated to romance, so at least there should be some competition, right? Well, there is. Blue Box. Blue Box is easily Yozakura's biggest competitor. The couple, they're just massively cute, but Blue Box is also really a bit of an oddity when it comes to Shonen Jump's own rom-coms, since most of them tend to be harem manga. And with harem manga comes some problems at depicting couples, because there can't be any. Now, this isn't completely true. There are definitely harem manga that focus on a couple and just had more girls for the fan service, but we do seem to be moving more and more away from this formula. Nisekoi, for example, does have a very cute couple that I love, but the manga also focuses on the romance between Raku and two other girls, when it's not focusing on the romance between Raku and even more girls. These stories don't have what Mission Yozakura Family has, and it's something I don't think any other manga in Weekly Shonen Jump has had other than the Forgotten Magico. And it's what I think elevates the relationship between these two compared to all the other couples. It exists. Yozakura's very first chapter has our two lovebirds marry. Now, the couple still evolves as time goes on, as the marriage is a bit imposed on them, and they aren't necessarily dating before it, but they were childhood friends who clearly already loved each other. And this means that as the story progresses, they are free to fully nurture this relationship, and it doesn't take long at all. The first couple chapters already put a focus on both how Taiyo cares about Mutsumi and vice versa. This is a story of Taiyo going far beyond his expected abilities to protect the one person he cares the most. And so the first chapters focus on showing Taiyo sacrificing himself for the sake of his wife, but we also get to see Mutsumi doing the exact same thing. Yes, the first moments of the very first chapter we see her cheering Taiyo up, which is nice, but we also see her actually putting herself between Taiyo and her brother, the strongest spy we have seen even 100 chapters later, to make sure Taiyo would not die. And in chapter 5 she trades spots with Taiyo, being kidnapped by rival spies so that Taiyo doesn't get hurt. This isn't just another instance of the main character sacrificing everything for a girl, the girl cheering him up, and then they get together at the end. Mutsumi has a more active role in the story and in the relationship, and this is especially amazing when you realize that Mutsumi is one of the very few female main characters in a battle manga that doesn't have any kind of power. She has the perfect excuse to be just an idle character, but she never actually feels like it. And she is, in my humble opinion, one of the best written female main characters in a battle manga. It does help in all of this that Yozakura Family isn't 100% a battle manga. There's a lot of elements of rom-com, comedy manga, and even a big portion of slice of life, and it's this mix that truly makes Yozakura Family different from the others in the genre, and probably what also makes it not as popular as them. But with this comes a lot of slice of life chapters of Taiyo and Mutsumi. Think about it, when was the last battle manga that wasted an episode with our main character taking his crush to a date? Well, in Yozakura Family it's very common to have chapters dedicated completely to this, or just more casual moments between the couple, and it doesn't take long before these two just act like the most in love couple in the world, and I love it, it's the cutest thing. I will never get tired of seeing Mutsumi and Taiyo putting all their trust in each other, and just see how far their love actually goes. Now, this could be a problematic situation, as this can actually do the opposite of what I'm claiming, and instead deliver on a stale and boring couple. The reason why most romance stories in general don't start with the characters as a couple, or if they do, it's with a lot of problems between them, is because they can grow in ways that these two just can't. I don't think we'll see a big fallout between Taiyo and Mutsumi that will need a resolution at any point in the manga, but that doesn't mean that this relationship isn't still explored in different and interesting ways. Like I said in the beginning, a lot of this manga is about how much these two are willing to do to protect each other, but having in mind that these characters are spies, we also do get to explore how that affects them, how that stops them from being just a normal couple and stops them from being able to deliver a normal life to each other. Taiyo probably would have liked to give Mutsumi some normality in the midst of her family and everything that happens in the manga. On the other hand, Mutsumi has to deal with the fact that she dragged him to these situations, that Taiyo could have been a normal guy, and thanks to her being part of his life, he just can't anymore. And of course, the manga itself, by not being a full-on romance, actually has a lot of their other plots and elements that drives the story further without having to rely too much on the constant development on the relationship of the characters. I don't know if this is on purpose or not, but Yozakura Family just happens to be the perfect story to be able to have a couple just like Taiyo and Mutsumi and have it work well. And I should reinforce this idea. Taiyo and Mutsumi will not work on every single manga. If the manga completely relies on dramatic elements, we are going to need more conflict. If it leans less, we will not be able to afford the amount of time building the love that they have for each other and actually deliver on a couple that really feels like their relationship matters to the story. And because the balance is so specific, they feel different and they feel more real and in love than most other couples in fiction. I don't want every other couple to feel like these two. It just wouldn't work. It will ruin some stories, or it will just be boring. But in Yozakura Family, it just feels so fresh, and it's been very few times that I've actually been this invested in a couple despite loving rom-coms. But another manga in Shonen Jump that kinda does the same thing, but not exactly quite, is Magico. And I talk about Magico and 4 other lesser known Jump manga in this video of mine that you can find by clicking in the link on the left. And if you watched it till here, thank you very much, and I'll see you next video.